Hi everyone, welcome back again to my channel. We're gonna take a look at another DCS jet fighter. As you can see in front of us, there is Mig-19P, nickname Farmer B from the West, and it's quite a next level compared to Mig-15 and Mig-17. So without further ado, let's take a look in much more detail. Okay, so as you can see, it's a fully loaded Mig-19P with the drop tanks and IR hit-seeking missiles in both wings, and actually there is supposed to be a rocket actually. I don't know why, but anyway, it's only, I think it only has two drop kind of payload in each of the wings. But anyway, the settings are showing 3, so it's kind of strange. It is a beautiful aircraft as usual from the Russian versions. Not as fancy as the West, but yeah, this one is a very rugged aircraft as usual. Can take off and land in even known asphalt or known hardened runway, for example. So yes, so we're gonna take a look at its quick history and of course the specifications. Okay, Mig-19P or Farmer B, Farmer Bravo, of course produced by Mikoyan Gurevich OKB or Design Bureau. Similar with other Russian aircraft, it has many models. However, this one is not as long or as many. Okay, Mig-19P. It's of course produced by Mikoyan Gurevich OKB or Design Bureau. Is not as many produced as its siblings, older siblings, which is actually Mig-15, for example, which produced more than 15,000 units. This one is only produced up more than 2,000, slightly more than 2,000 units, and the year of services is not that long, from 1955 to 1968. Similar with other Russian aircraft from the East, it has many versions. Initially, it's Mig-19 Farmer A Alpha, and then produced with many variants like PF, PG, PM, PML, PT, PU, R, and S. Where of course the P1 is actually Farmer Bravo, as what we have seen here. The S version is Farmer C or Charlie, and then several versions furthermore. It involved in several war operationally, of course, as a Cold War interceptor and actually quite a light bombing aircraft. Could provide a thing for close air support with some rockets to hit some light vehicle or tanks, but it can carry also bombs. Yeah, for the interceptors, it also can do with the missiles. This is, I think, the one that is equipped with the missiles. If not mistaken, also involved in the Vietnam War, facing F5, for example, and in the Middle East, in the Egypt-Syria war. So the main users definitely is Russian and China. I think China are given a license to produce as G6, Shenyang, if not mistaken, and then of course Vietnam, Egypt, Iraq, North Korea, and Syria. The sim models where the F-15 and F-86 Suberjet has been produced by Belsimtech. This one is produced by RAZBAM. RAZBAM have produced many beautiful aircraft until today. I think its website's also active if you want to visit. The cockpit, I think 90 to 95% clickable. Most of it can be interacted with. Of course, some function probably not available, but yeah, it's definitely quite immersive. The flight model, if not mistaken, I believe is PFM or professional flight model, so it's quite accurately simulating the behavior of the aircraft. Today you can see the liveries. I'm using a bare metals Russian liveries, the aviation group, with 2 stripe in the rear fuselage. It's quite beautiful with the green nose tips. I think the other one is a red, half white kind of camouflage. I think that's also quite beautiful, but yeah, this one is more realistic, I guess, for showing the Russians. As you can see here, we are equipped with missiles, drop tanks, and rockets pylon actually on each of the wing side. So 3 payload actually able to be carried with the Mig-19P. Where previously it's only 1 pylons to carry either drop tanks or some other thing, or the bombs. So let's take a look at the specifications. Yeah, Mig-19P has dimension is a bit longer than my Mig-15 and Mig-17. I think around 10 meters, 11 meters, and this one is 13 meters to 14 meters with the probe, I think, with the fuel probe. And the wingspan actually is only 9 meters, kind of shorter than the Mig-15 because it has more aggressive wing swap. Mig-19 have almost like 55-degree wing swap, while the Mig-15 still around 30-something degree wing swap. So I think because of its flying, the first supersonic aircraft able to fly supersonic from Russian jet fighters, so it has more aggressive wing swap, and the what do you call it, the wing tap, the stabilizers, the vertical stabilizers, only 1 versus the previous one is have 2 smaller or shorter vertical stabilizers on top of the wing. And also I think the height is almost the same, or almost like 4 meters. The weight is actually increasing more than, I think, 30%, like 40% compared to the previous one, now at 5.2 ton empty weight, where the gross weight could be around 7.6 ton, while the maximum takeoff weight increased to 8.8 ton. I think it's sensible because it has more powerful, it has more powerful thrust, but it has similar engines thrust. The difference is it used 2 engine compared to Mig-19, Mig-15 and Mig-17. So it used Tumansky RD9 version, which the power is almost similar with 1 engine in Mig-17, but it has 2 of them. So it's kind of like increasing the thrust. From each of the engine can produce around 26 kilonewtons up to 31 kilonewtons, also 31 kilonewtons with afterburner. So this one have afterburner and also military power. So it has 3-stage: nominal, maximum, which is maximum thrust without anything, and then nominal, that's nominal. Then military power, if you press a button, you're gonna boost it further, the power into, they call it military power, and then if you press the afterburner switch, it can produce even further power up to 31 or 32 kilonewton each of the engine. So both of them produce around 64 kilonewton. So it's very powerful, around 5,700 to 7,100 pound per engine, and it can bring more fuel, of course. I think it's a bit more efficient, I guess. It can bring more fuel compared to the older one, up to 1,500 kg. or 3,250 pounds. The maximum speed also, as mentioned, this one is supersonic, so it's more than 1,450 kilometer per hour or 784 knots with the Mach 1.35. The stall speed, if not mistaken, I think it's around 280 or 300. Below 300 is going to be very kind of dangerous, kilometer per hour, or around 151 knots. So just to give you a bit of the hints on what is the stall speed of this aircraft. So the thing is, you have to maintain above 300 to be safe. 300, below 300, I think you'll be ready for landing, for example. The range is, I think, around 750 to 1,200 nautical miles with the drop tanks. Maximum ceiling is slightly higher than the Mig-15, of course, like up to 57,000 feet, where Mig-15, I think, is around 50,000 feet, but not that, high to be able to catch with the spy plane, for example. The armament is now it's equipped with a radar scope. It's called RP5 or Izumrud or Emerald in the West, in English, the radar name. It can, find targets and locked it, but only one. So I think around 17 targets in the same scope, but only lock one. And also it cannot help to shoot or guide the missiles, because it's using head-seeking only, or infrared head-seeking missile only. But yeah, it's just to lock the target, and then to enable the missiles to lock itself. The guns, it's only have two, but it's increased from, so it's a middle ground from Mig-15, for example. It's increased from the 23 millimeters before in the Mig-15, but smaller than the one gun in Mig-15, which is 37 millimeters. So it's a middle ground, only 30 millimeters, but I think it's carrying enough bullets, I guess, rounds, up to around 71 rounds per gun. So you have around 140, but usually you shoot both of them at the same time. So kind of like only 70 round until you end up use up all the rounds. It's also, as mentioned, it's equipped with missiles. You can bring missiles. R35 Atoll, for example, is a rear aspect head-seeking missiles. And you can bring bombs or rockets. I think bombs to up to 250 kg bombs, or you can bring, I think, eight pods of rockets. So it's quite plenty for close air support, for example. Okay, so that is the new Mig-19 specification. So let's take a look or walk around the aircraft. As you can see from the front, there's one intake, big intake, and there is the radar actually sit on top of the intake, in that green painted nose. So there is where the radar is, and also there's the landing and taxi light in the wheel, on the front wheel. As usual, the gun itself is mounted now into the wing root, near the wing root. So two of them on each side, and there's a wing tab or stabilizer, vertical stabilizer on top of the wing, to prevent kind of like instability on the turbulence. And also, you can see three pylon here. I just loaded this aircraft on the ground with drop tanks, the Atoll R35 missile, head-seeking missile, and the rocket launcher in the inside pylons. So yeah, it's several pitot tube on the left side, I guess. That is, if I'm not mistaken, is the antenna, the radar antenna. And on top of the engine, as you can see, there's several scoops for cooling the engine. And we can see later on there are three air brake from this aircraft. So if you can see from the front, there is one camera in the nose of the aircraft on the left of the chin of the nose, or the right hand chin from the cockpit view, of course. So there's one, we call it nose camera, the gun camera. And what else? I think so the air is being split into two ways, which is left and right, because it used two engines, as mentioned before. And then there's a emergency pitot tube just on top of the front cowling. So that is on top of the 384 numbers. So there's a small emergency pitot tube, and also there's a communication antenna just next on the right side of the cockpit. You can see that protruding kind of metal that is for the antenna. What else? So that is the similar. So that's just the wing stabilizers. From behind, as you can see, there's two engines of this aircraft, and so kind of like very powerful. What else? There's a horizontal vertical stabilizer also beneath the aircraft to create more stability. Also, it has more advanced stabilizations. So when you are in high speed, or in a lower speed, when you are takeoff and landing, it has kind of there's a longer arm to push the aileron and the stabilizers in the horizontal stabilizers or the elevators into higher movement. But when you are in higher speed or in certain speed zone, the arm is actually shorter. So it's kind of like disabling you to make a very abrupt control change, which can cause instability in the aircraft. So it has a bit more smarter systems, like not as advanced as digital system, of course, but at that time it was analog kind of systems, but it's quite smart. Okay, and you can see here, if I boost engines, it has kind of very powerful engines, and you can see this one goes to afterburner, and that's the reheat, and that is afterburner. And you can also change to military power. The military power has less power, of course, but it also, I think, midway between nominal and afterburner, so it doesn't have any reheat, so it doesn't show that orange glow in the afterburners of this aircraft. So it's very powerful, as you can see. From the top, you can see it's the wing sweep is very aggressive, like it's almost 55 degrees as mentioned, and there are several features very unique to F-15. So on the right side, there's a long rod in the wingtip. That is the pitot, the main pitot tube, that is to measure the pressures, the air pressures for the altitudes and other purposes. What else? I think that is the flaps. The flap is a bit different in the previous MiG-15. The flap is only half of the wing are dropped. Here you can see here, if it's kind of the whole the whole what do you call it, the whole flap is being dropped, and this is the landing flap. So it's, I think it's more than or I think around 50 degree, and this is the first flap positions, and this is retracted. Okay, for the air brake, it has 3 of them. 2 are in the rear fuselage, and 1 is actually underneath the aircraft. So you can see it has 1 big air brake in the bottom of the aircraft, but it has actually a a hole in it, while the rear fuselage doesn't have any hole in it. So it's a solid air brake. So that is the air brake. So you can see here the air brake is I'm not sure what's the purpose. I think it's because I think it needs some stabilizations in the air brake in the bottom of the aircraft. Also, it has a parachute. So let's say let me open the parachute, for example. I think I'm gonna shoot the parachute now. Something like that. That's the parachute. So it's being used to land in a shorter runway. And after you land, and you can cut the parachute away, and it's gone. Okay, so basically that is MiG-19, and you can see that is the R-35 Atoll missiles underneath the outer pylons and the drop tanks. I think 250 gallons or liters. I forgot. What else? Yeah, so that is the rudders, and also the all moving stabilizers, as you can see, or elevators. So compared with the MiG-15, which is not all moving, so this one is more suitable for supersonic aircraft. As you can see, it's all moving stabilizers or elevators. Okay. And this one has aileron on each side of the wing, and that is most of it. It still uses a very odd steering mechanisms with the differential brake systems, and yeah. So I think it's going to be very interesting to fly with. And that is the landing light. This is the landing light. This one is the taxi light. What else? I think that's it. And as usual, there are several mechanical indicators on top. In front of the canopy, we can see that red white strip that is indicating the landing gear. The front landing gear has been lowered, and the red white strip on top of the wing, that's indicating the main landing gear has been lowered or not. So you can detect that by seeing that mechanical indicators, but it also has inside lights indicators. Okay, so that's it. So that is a walk around of this MiG-19. So it's quite interesting aircraft. You can see the powerful engines. The two engines create quite a significant thrust to be able to fly supersonic. Okay, so let's go inside the cockpit now. Okay, now we are in the cockpit of Mig-19P Farmer Bravo or B. So it is much more, there are more switches compared to MiG-15, of course, because there are a lot more features built into this aircraft. So without further ado, let's start from the left. So I'm going to freeze the view so you can just see it. Okay, so here we are on the left panel side. So we can start from the left. This one, of course, is there's an oxygen tube here, or the this for the connector to the mast, and this one is for your adjusting the seatbelt harness, and this one, of course, the ejection seat with the red handles. Here you can see there are called, I'm putting an English name here because it's quite difficult to read in Russian. This one is to mix your oxygens, so it's 100% mix or 100% oxygens or mix, and auto or you can adjust yourself. This one is for the minimum altitudes using a radar warning, so you can set if you want to have a warning if you are too low or too high sorry, too low, close to the ground. Okay. So on this one is a selection of the pitot. So you can select the main pitot tube or the emergency one, the smaller one in front of the cockpit. This one is the longer rod in the wingtip, on the right wingtip actually. So this is usually set to, of course, to main. If you move forward, this is the oxygen. Sorry, this one first. This is the oxygen valve, shut-off valve. So this is rotating to clockwise to open. And what else? I think that's it. And this one is now entering the radar panels, so you can activate the jamming radar, the electronic jamming circuits on and off. This one is for the testing, the bit test for the whole systems on the radar. This one is selecting the voltage or pressures for the radar power measurement. So you want to know if the radar is functioning or not, even with the pressure or the voltage you can select. This one is for locking and unlocking the target. This one is to make standby and then turn on the radar itself. So standby and off. I'm binding it into my hot test Warthog. This one is to adjust the horizons. On the scope later on, there's lines where indicating there's a horizon in it, so you can adjust up and down on the radar scope. What else? This one is actually the rocket salvo and IR missile release mode selectors. So one rocket on one missile only, or auto, which is launched in succession from both parts. So usually you put in one rocket only, so you can just repel yourself. This one is the day and night mode of your radar scope. So there's a screen on the right side. We're gonna see it later on day and night. So night is dimmer, of course, day is brighter, and this is your brightness of the radar scope. This one is for the rocket launchers counters, so you can see the rocket being launched. Night and day lighting also available. And this one is for selecting the what do you call it, the gun sight or the reticle in front of your HUD, either for bomb, rocket pods, guns, and R30, 30, and then guided missile. So either using optic or radar guidance. And also you can select manual bomb release or auto bomb release. And then next to it is actually, this one is to start the engine. So left engine, right engine, you press it 2 or 3 seconds to start the engine once you're ready. Of course, there are several sequences before it, but you can not just press this one and then ignite your engine. So below it is actually the engine starter or the air starter. So if your engine shut off or stalling or whatever, let's say compressor stall due to a certain maneuver, and your engine is off and then you want to restart, you have to use this one on the left engine and then the right engines. There is a light in it here that indicating that the air start is inactive. On the right side there is this one is for parachute jettison. So once you open here, actually the yellow one here is to deploy the parachute here, the upper right here or upper left here, the yellow cover here, the brake chute. But once you want to cut it, you have to press this one. Okay, and next to it there is a warning button to reset the warning button. This one is the long and short arm kind of selector for the ARU or the automatic. I think it's a flight control system basically. I'm not familiar with the abbreviation of ARU, but long arm meaning that there's more movement, short arm meaning less movement. If you move the stick, it will move less with the shorter arm and move more with the longer arm. But you usually put in auto, not manual. But if you want to put in manual, you can select here whatever you want. Here, this is for near frequency group you want to select. There are 3 groups. I cannot change this one before you change this homing into near and the antenna is being deployed. So yeah, this one is not switchable until you set it properly. This one, of course, the throttle. It has 2 range. Let me put in idle. There's a switch, and I'm binding it to my hot test. This is the left one, and the right one you have to put on idle to move it, to be able to move it, and then you put the switch to both into stop positions. There's this also to adjust the wing wingspan of the target reticle in front of your HUD here. There's a mic button here also, and this one is the important one. There's a military power switch and the afterburner switch. So you press this one when you are, let's say you put in nominal maximum, meaning maximum throttle, it won't be automatically set into afterburner or military power before you press this one or this one. You press this one, after a few seconds it will goes into military power. So the speed will increase on the RPM. No, not RPM, the speed actually. RPM is still the same, but it will give a boost of fuel to increase the power. And then when you press this afterburner, it further accelerate and reheat the exhaust, so be able to produce more power at the same RPM. So when you want to get out from military or afterburner, you have to put into like 60% here. It will automatically switch off and back to normal. And of course, if you don't press this one continuously, it will then back to nominal power maximum. Okay, so that is how it works. And what else? Oh, this one has flaps, so you can put the flaps by pressing this retracted, take off, and landing. So it only has 3 position and 1 reset button here to put back this flap into normal unpush conditions. After you are engaging this one or whatever, you can press reset just to make it into unpress positions of the switch. This one is for the comms. There are 6 pre-program frequency. You can program 1 for ATC, for example, to your wingman. You're gonna set it into this frequency in your mission planner or being set by the mission itself. Radio, compass, or kind of Morse code or voices. And this one is to activate the squelch or off and on. And this one is for the volume of the radio. This one is for the booster aileron hydraulic boosters. You have to put it on mostly, if not broken. And this one is for the trimming of the aileron, and this one is for either hydraulic or electrical powered aileron stabilizers, stabilizer or actuator, I forgot, but mostly in hydraulic, and this one is activated also. So both are into forward position. This one is usually just to trim. Moving upward, there's several switch. From the right this is fuel pump 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to activate this one when you want to power the engine. So this one, I think, for the left and right engines, and this one is for the flight instruments power. So if you want to light up all the instruments or activate the instrument, you have to switch it on. Of course, this aircraft needs ground equipment to be able to start and power the engine. This one is anti-skid, and this one is for engine start systems switch. So you want to start, it's actually behind this tab, so I cannot see it. So this one, this one is the engine start system. So you want to start the engine, you have to flick this switch on. And this one is fuel tanks fire extinguisher, so you have to switch this on before you fire the engine. This one is for the cutoff oil cutoff switches. You don't use it. and this one for emergency military power cutoff, basic afterburner cutoff. Two of this switch. I think that's it. Normally anti-skid's already switch on, but yeah, if not, then you have to turn it on. This one is for the flare, so you kind of like switch it on to be able to use the flare. This one is the main test button to test this fuel and left and right fuel. This one is for the left and right cutoff switch for the fuel. This one is for fire extinguishing switch. This one is for the activation of this fire extinguisher switch, and this one is for testing it. So if you press this one, it will light up. If you press this one, it will light up these two pumps testing lamp, just to see it's functional or not. Okay, so basically that is the left panels. So let's go into the kind of here. This is the left vertical panel. As you can see, there is a lamp control button here. If you press this one, it will light up the landing gear lights here, and this flap, I think, and the speed brake, if I'm mistaken, just to test this light. So usually this, you press this one to test, this one to test, and this one to test. So there's three test button at least you can test to see if it's all functioning well. This one, landing gear lever, of course, you can switch it up, switch it lower. I'm okay because no hydraulic power. Just be careful if you retract the landing gear. If it's powered, then the aircraft will just drop into the ground. So yeah, be careful. So this one is the kind of lock switch, so you cannot accidentally retract the gear on the ground. So don't open this one until you're ready to fly, so it will protect you. So I don't know why this one is able to supposed to be like, hold on, let me check. Oh, come on. Okay, so I think it's it's unable to see. This is the proper one. I think the previous one is not. So even if my landing gear is retracted, it won't retract the gear because it's being locked by this one. So it's only can be lowered. You have to put this lock in all the time before you're ready to fly. What else? This one is land test button. You can press this one to illuminate the test, the landing procedures. And this indicator here is aileron trim or neutral. If your trim here are neutral, then it will be light green here. What else? Going up, this is the UV light. UV light, what do you call it? Lamp. So in the night you can switch on, then your cockpit will be lighted with the UV lamp, so it's less obvious from the outside. Canopy tests, yeah, this one, icing system, canopy icing system press switch if you want to. This one is for the radio navigations, I think far and near, using far frequency or near frequency. And this one is brake chute, parachute. If you open it and press this one, the parachute will deploy. This one for jettison all the bombs, tanks, and everything. Emergency jettison if you want to go to combat or air combat or maneuvers which require extreme maneuver, you can just drop everything here. This one is emergency jet rocket pod. So this one is for dropping the rocket pods. This one for arming the gun. Using pyrotechnic, so you have to press this left and right buttons to arm these two light here on the bottom panels. It will light up, meaning the gun is ready. I think this one, if you see here, there's two switch here. Oops, sorry. Let me. Okay. If you see here, there's two switch up here. Where is it? Okay. There is, ooh, come on. I cannot see it. Okay, so there's two switch here. This one is 100% navigation light. This one is, oh, why? Come on. This one is 100%. This one off. This one 10%. This one, sorry, one more. 30% navigation lights brightness. So you can select no navigation light, 100%, so very bright, 10%, and then 30%. So you click the left mouse button just to cycle these 3 positions or 4 positions, including off. This one is for landing. So if you want to switch the landing lights on the left chin of the aircraft, and off, and taxi lights in the wheel, front wheel of the aircraft. Okay. What else? Okay, so we done with this area here. This one is for the oxygen flow meters below here. You can see if your oxygen is flowing. What else? Okay. Let me increase a bit, and cause I think, can we remove this one? No. Okay, so this one is, let's take a look at the main panel here before we going to top panels. So it's the ISM route radar indicator. So if the radar is active, it will lights on, and this one is mode 1 and mode 2. Mode 1 is below 2,000 feet, and mode 2 is above 2,000 feet or 2,000 meters. I forgot. Anyway, there's certain limits to use this one. So I think the one below, I think using antenna rather than the radar itself, because it's a lot of clutters, underground clutter, so you won't be able to see anyway using the radar. So above 2,000 meter, I think, then it will use mode 2. It will be functioning as it's supposed to. This one is the radio compass navigation or course plotting. So you can adjust your course. Let's say I want to go to 30 degree or 300 degree, and then you try to follow this course, for example. This one is for the altimeters, so it has adjustment of the altimeters. So you adjust first your ground elevation here on the runway to before you take off, just to be able to go back and use this reference as your ground elevation here. This one is actually in the, I think this one is actually the in 1,000 feet, and the 1,000 meters. The inner side is actually in 10,000. Yeah, 10,000 numbers. So it's actually the smaller dial indicating 10,000 feet increments. This one is in 1,000 feet. 1,000 meters, sorry. This one is from 20,000 meters. 10,000 meters, sorry. This one is for the radar altimeters, altitudes. So altimeters. So it's up to 0 to 600 meters using the radar, ground radars. This one is for the airspeed in kilometer per hour. So basically using, this is all use metric, not imperial. So it's using metrics. So this one is in hundreds, so 200, 300, 400, 600, up to 2,000, meaning 2,000 kilometer per hour maximum. This one is the clock. You can adjust this one if you want to. This one is the pitch and bang angle indicator. So it's 60 degree bang angle and pitch. In Russian, if you pitch up, it will basically show more blue, meaning you can see more sky. It's quite different with the Western aircraft where the blue is above, meaning that you are toward the sky. Here you are seeing more sky. Basically, it's just inverted things. What else? This is engine emergency air start system. As mentioned, if the air start active, it will lights on. and basically for restarting the engine mid-air. This one is for I think for calibrating this one. So you push this one and then it will recalibrate this pitch angle until it centers again. This one is for the RO itself. So there's some RO voltage indicator, so you can change some of the RO effect in the flight control system as mentioned. Lamp control button. This one will light screen if you are in I think using a long arm during landing and takeoff position, so it will light up. So before you land, you have to see this, it's light up or not. If not, then you are not using the longer arm setting. So it's kind of like very difficult to land. This one is vertical speed in meter per second, not second, or meter per second. Yep. So up till 150 meter per second. This one is for the Mach speed. So 0.6 to 1.5 Mach maximum Mach speed. This one is for engine RPM from 0 to 15,000 RPM. I think the military and afterburners, the RPM max around 11,000 something here before red line, and it will, if you switch the military and afterburner switch, it will lights up. This one is military power, so it's both of this light will, if both engine are in military power, it will lights on this lamp. For afterburner, it will be indicated here. This one is for the temperature, so it's actually in 100 centigrade. So 300, 400, 500, 700, up to 900 centigrade. I think maximum is around 700. So I think nominal, I think around 650. But it will stabilize on idle around 500 something. This one is left and right generator disconnected light. So if it's light up, meaning that the generator is disconnected. If you switch off this one, both of this switch, it will light up this lamp basically. It's not generating power to charge the battery or something, or produce the electricity required for the aircraft. This one is for the oil pressure warning lights. If one left engine lights up, meaning there's some engine problem in the oil, and this is the right engine oil indicators. So during startup, you have to wait until this oil lights off and this lights generator also lights off. So both of them have to be lights off. That means the engine already stable on the left side and the right side, for example. That's my indicator anyway. So this one is for the main tank empty indicators. So if this light up, you have to be worried because you will have no fuel, basically enough fuel to fly back home. This one is for, I think, 550 liter indicator. So if you spend, because I haven't mentioned this one is the fuel indicators. So it's 0 to 1400 liter internal tanks. I think there will be another 500 liter more in from both pylon drop tanks, but not indicated here. This one is if you have this much fuel, for example here, around 550 liters, this lamp will light up. So below that, it will light up this one. If you almost empty, this one will light up. This one, small indicator here, there is, I think, liter per minute, if not mistaken. This one is the fuel flow. So I think around 7, 8, forgot. That's nominal, but then if you are using afterburner, it's suddenly kind of increasing in numbers. So this one is the main panel, low pressure hydraulic system. If it's not enough, it will light up as mentioned. This one is voltage, the main voltage or time 10. So this one is 30 volts is or 24 volts is okay or not. This one is the differential pressure from the cockpit cabin. From the outside, if I'm not mistaken. And this one is also for hydraulic pressures, if not mistaken. I forgot that one. Yeah, so this one is hydraulic pressure, I'm just thinking. Yeah. No? I don't know. I forgot. Anyway, yeah, so sorry, this one is oxygen system. altitude indicators. I'm using Chuck's guideline anyway, but sometimes I forgot what it is. Yeah, so this one for the main, this of course, this one is the radar scope, so it will light up amber if it's active during the day, and this has 0 to 12 kilometers range. So this one is the distance to the target. This one is the azimuth angle of the radar itself, so it's kind of the widespread. It has a fixed vertical angle, I think around 26 upward from the horizons, or degree, and 16 degree to below, right? So it's more upward angle kind of radar actually. So yeah, so if the aircraft is here, there's some indication actually. We're gonna talk about radar, I think, later on, because there's some symbology being used in the radar itself. Here we can see this is the HUD kind of package here. This is targets span, wingspan, if you want to target a smaller wingspan or higher wingspan like the bomber, you can adjust. This one is for the bombing angle of the bombing reticle. You can adjust the bombing reticle. This one is the brightness. This was it uncaged and cage. This one is lock and brake indicator. Lock meaning that the radar is locked, and the brake is you are too close to the target, and then you have to brake away. This one is the G meter, accelerometer. So you can see, let me release it first so I can lock it up front. So this one is the G meter, accelerometer, negative and positive G. This is also the same, I think, lock and brake indicators. This one is the distance from your targets from this reticle here in 10 meters. So it's 200 meters distant, or in hundreds, so 2,000 meters, 1,500 meters, and so on. I think it's 1,000 meters and 500 meters here. So it's kind of like gauging the target from the radar indicators. I don't know what it is. This one, by the way, is very important. You have to flick this one. I'm using a switch bound in my cockpit. So if in this horizontal position, meaning that the nose gear brake system is active. So if you press the brake lever, pull or press, squeeze the lever in your joystick, it will brake the nose gear also. It was used during landing or during testing power just now in the beginning. You have to put here and then press the lever or squeeze the lever in the joystick to be able to use all brakes on the 3-wheel. But during taxi, you have to flick it down, basically in a horizontal position like this, because if you in the horizontal position like this, it won't be able to steer. So if you want to steer using the differential braking system, you have to put it in vertical position like this. And above is actually cockpit gun camera. So it's a camera on the cockpit to record all the things, if not mistaken. What else? So emergency jettison of cockpit. I've never used that so far. No need to jettisoning from this aircraft. Okay, so that's the front panel. So let's go into the right panel. So this is quite a lot to cover, as you can see. Okay, so let's go down and let's see the switch. So this one is the battery switch, the generator. So battery switch, you see, battery is on. Left generator, right generator. This is the radio, the emergency radio, emergency antenna, and the radio switch here. And this one is, I think, it's the I forgot the name of this. There's a lot of switch actually on the right side where you have the beacon. This one is the emergency ARK5, meaning the navigation radio switch, and AGI, or the artificial horizon emergency power switch. And this one is the radio switch if you want to communicate with ATC or your wingman, for example. And this one is for beacon and radio altimeters power switch. And as mentioned below is the generator. So this is up to this level. And this one is the MUS2 stabilizer electrical control power switch. This is for activating the aileron electrical control power switch for controlling the aileron using electrical. And this one is G1K or radio navigation and AGI artificial horizon. So if you want to use the compass, I think this one. If you want to use this one and this one, you have to activate this AGI switch here. Okay, and these two are actually the pitot, main pitot and emergency pitot, but this one has to be switched on before you're ready for takeoff. So don't switch on during taxi because it's heating up the basically main pitot heater. So this one is the heater for the main pitot and the emergency pitot in front of us here in the canopy. So this is going to be very hot. Somebody can touch if it's switched on in the RAM like this. So from this from battery generator, this one starting from here is the ASP5 and gun side heater. So this is one for the gun side heater. This one is for the gun side power itself. So both of them for the gun. And this one is for the radar, the azimuth radar itself, the RP5. This one is for the rockets, Oro 57K rocket pod. So if you want to activate the rocket pod, this one is for radar. This one is for the gun side heater and gun side power itself. So these two are for gun power. So if you want to use gun, you have to switch on both of this switch to be able to power up the gun. And this one is for the camera. So this one is cockpit camera and this one is front camera. Yeah, nose gun camera and this cockpit gun camera. So if you want to use the gun camera, you have to put this one on. This one is for mostly emergency pressures and the main hydraulic pressures, just for indicating the various emergency power. This one emergency landing gear power. This switch also. If you lower this one, the landing gear will always stay lowered. Don't do that. And this one is for the pressure itself. This one is main hydraulic pressures, indicating the whole hydraulic pressure. So let me arrange the camera to. Okay, so this one is for the flap emergency. So if you rotate this one, the flap will always lower. You cannot retract it anymore. This one is for main pneumatic systems also in kilogram per centimeter square. This one is also. This one is for UV light rheostat or the light brightness. So for the left panel and the right panel UV lights. This one is the float light. You bind this one during the night flight, for example, for illuminating the whole cockpit with the float light. And this one is the ARK navigation radio. This one is for the far and near band selector. One for Morse code or for basically voice, if I'm not mistaken. This one is the fuse, nothing else. This one is the brightness for illuminating these panels, volume itself, and trying to rotate the antenna. Later on, if you use antenna here, the selector to antenna, for example, then you can rotate the antenna by pressing this one left or right. So it's actually spring loaded. So right, you release, and back to normal. So you kind of like rotate to the right and then release it. If you find the frequency, which is the signal strength is the most significant. And that's it. Standby mode and volume as mentioned. This off. This one is cockpit ventilation. You open it during the first flight, before the flight, for starting up. This one is also for pressurizing the cockpit. It's a valve, pressurization valve, so close. This one is meaning it's pressurized, and if during open cockpit, you can just put in open. This one for cold temperature in the cockpit, hold, hot, and auto. So cold, hot, and auto. Okay. Usually just put in auto. This one for IFF identifications, I think emergency destruction. This one for destructing the code. If you, let's say you are, what do you call it, shoot down, if you are able to, self-destruct this IFF code. This one is for activating the IFF or trying to identify the friend or foe. This one is the buzzers, sound buzzers. This one, all of these are the circuit breaker. Okay, so if something happens, you just flick it up, down, flick down and up. That's it. And of course, there's a what do you call it, a cockpit mechanism here, and this is the pressurization of the cockpit when it's all pressurized. Okay. I think that's it. That is what it is in the cockpit. This is emergency landing gear, I was thinking, or air brake. This one is master brake, emergency master brake. If you pull this down up, it will brake the aircraft in hard way, basically. What else? I think, yeah. So this is a canopy handle. You can just pull this one. No hydraulic anyway, so it won't be moving. Okay, so that's it, and let's now do the start cold and dark startup procedure. Okay, now we are ready to start the aircraft from cold and dark. So before we start, we're gonna take a look at the clock set, and we're gonna request wheel chock 4 and place.
Установить колодки. Прием. Командир, колодки установлены.
Okay, let's check outside. Yep, the wheel chocks is set. We're gonna set the cockpit pressurization valve open here and cockpit ventilation open. And let's open the oxygen here to with the clockwise rotations. Okay, done. And then put this one into auto. Oh, come on, auto. Yeah, and that's first setting. And we are then setting the aircraft elevations, runway elevation here. I think it's 500 here, so it should be lower than on this one. Okay, so that is the elevation set. RU elevator flight control system mode switch auto. I think it's okay. Auto here, and set aileron hydraulic booster pump on. So already on here, and we can continue to the aircraft power up procedures. So we're gonna switch, gonna call the ground crew, ground equipment, for ground equipment. So electrical power, FF2, on.
Подключить питание. Прием.
Okay, we wait.
Командир, наземное электропитание подключено.
Okay, ground power units has been connected, so let's set the battery on. You can check all lights up here, 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 and here, and then verify the so the low pressure indicator on, generators disconnected on, suspended load we don't have any. Oh yeah, we do have 2 of them. Oh yeah, we still carry the drop tank fuel and the missile, so we're gonna drop all of them before landing though. So don't worry about it. And then and we're gonna switch this on, generator left and right, to then continue with the testing. So we're gonna test this lights here first. So everything lights up, as you can see. Retect rear red light, flap deployed, air brake deployed, so everything light up. So good. This one is aileron neutral trim position, so it's okay. And this one is also trimmer effect neutral, okay. And we gonna test this fuel pumps on, good. This one for fire extinguisher, let's test it also on, good. And that's it. So I think we test all of them. Oh, by the way, we can also test this air start system. So let's open this one and test this one. So it's all going to light up, meaning it's active. So switch it off again. This one light up here and switch it off again. Of course, this one is optional, but this one is the proper one to start up. Engine start. So now we are already ready for engine start. Before that, we're gonna activate the fuel pump here. So you're gonna switch this on. Okay, so all fuel pumps on, and also the flight instrument on. So you can switch this on, is okay. And this one is for engine start system on. Oops. And this one is also on. So this one, if you can see down here, both are on. Okay, so what else? I think that's it. And now you're ready to start engine. Okay, so okay, that's it. And now we open this cover on the left engine. So we're gonna put this left lever into idle. So let's switch. I'm binding it into my hot test, by the way, to put this into idle. So let's see here. So put to idle from off position, and then we can press this one for 2 or 3 seconds. Let's see, and the RPM is starting here. So let's press. So it's increasing, as you can see. So just unpress. You can put the cover back. So it will RPM will increase and EGT will increase here. The temperature, the exhaust gas temperatures around to 600s more, and then going back to 500. That established. This generators already lights off, meaning that it's already get power, electrical power from this engine, but the oil has not been light off, meaning that it's not yet fully lubricated, I guess. The pressure of the oil is not yet there. So we wait until this off, meaning that the engine is already stabilized. I think around here, and the temperature is around 500-ish. Okay, so it's lowered, the exhaust gas is lowered, and it will turn off when it's ready. Okay, so its oil is ready. When turn off means it's already stabilized. So we can turn off the second one. So we open this cover, and again we put the right lever into idle. I'm using a switch here. Okay, into idle. And then we press again this start engines button. So I'm binding it also to my hot test bar hop. So let's start. You see it's increasing again on the right engine. So we unpress, and we can push the cover back. So generator is already off around 2000 RPM, but the oil hasn't yet off. So the low hydraulic pressure systems is already off, meaning it's already pressurized, the hydraulics, and we wait until this temperature on the right engine's going down to 500 here. Okay, so it's not yet stable, I think. By the way, this is the left engine, so there's a box near the center here, meaning it's the left engine. The one, the square, the rectangle is actually outward, is the right engine actually. So that's how you see it in this dual meter RPM systems. Okay, almost there. Okay, oil has gone out, so confirm everything is off here, meaning that the hydraulic has been pressurized, the oil has been pressurized, and generator is fully generating power to the aircraft. So now we can actually request to switch off the ground equipment. So F8 again, ground electric power, and off.
Отключить питание. Прием. Командир, наземное электропитание отключено.
Okay, so it's off already. So we're gonna switch the brake here, the brake lever here, into horizontal positions. Okay, I'm flicking in my controllers. So let me check the brake pressure here. We can see downward over there. There's a brake pressure activating. So why we're gonna do that? Because we're gonna press the brake, and also because there's a chock in the main wheel. So we're gonna put the engine into full nominal power and then flick the afterburner and military power to check the light. Okay, so let's brake and push the engine to the maximum. And you can check the military power first. So it's green, all green, and then afterburner on and military off. So now we're gonna put into idles again. So everything is nominal, meaning it's functional and good to go. Okay, so you check both of the engine run-up procedures, and now we're gonna do a pre-flight checklist. So I have a checklist actually on paper here. By the way, we can switch on the navigation lights first. Let's put to maximum 100 because it's already on. And both engine, aileron booster done, aileron trim, the pitch trim done, flaps. So we're gonna check the flaps. So here is retracted. So we're gonna use the flap into middle here, or takeoff and then landing. Okay, so actually you can see outside also that the flap has been lowered into maximum. Here is actually takeoff and then retracted. Okay, so we're gonna retract it first, no worry. Okay, so flap check, air brake also we can check by pressing the button here in your stick. You bind this into air brake. The lights will light up, air brake deployed, and you can see outside the brake has been deployed or retracted. Okay, so air brake and flap indicators working here, so meaning somebody probably outside check is you notify that's already good and check. I have sorry, we forgot to request the ATC for I think, because we haven't switched on the radio. Supposed to be switch on the radio first, and also you probably need to push this jig one for 3 seconds or 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will align his one, and also this one align. Let them cycle around few seconds. This one also can be stabilizer on, trim on, and jigs. This one is GIK one on. Sorry, I have to press this one again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this one is already on, and I think it's going to that's it. What else? This is, this one is the heater for the gun sight, and radar also on, and this one on, and we can switch on all the gun here, and the camera also you can switch on. Okay, so it will come up, and you can switch on the gun here if you want to until it switch on over there. Okay, left one gun on, right gun on. Okay, so that's it. And actually let's contact ground again, FATC, This one F1, Anapa, and request startup. I think we've done.
101. Запуск.
Okay, clear for startup. I think the sound is missing. I don't know. I think because of the radio here is not turned on. Okay, let's see. Okay, and we done our check. Anti-skid on. Let's heating on. Oh, forgot about it. Let's close the canopy. It's very noisy anyway. Okay, cool. Very nice. We're gonna pressurize here. Okay. This one is already pressurized. Radar has been turned on. We haven't turned on the radar though, so we're gonna switch this to standby here, and the pressure of the radar is on. The rocket also here indicated in green and yellow, so you can see we are bringing all the rockets, and we might try to shoot something up there. What else? Okay, I think that's all of it, and it's already aligning, and everything seems to be checked. Let me check. Gun side power switch on, gun side power switch heating on, and pre-flight checklist. Okay, so now we are ready to taxi. Flaps, let's put the flaps into, oh sorry, I think we're gonna do it later on. Side heating on, everything on, check, wheel chock remove. So okay, so we'll remove the wheel chock now. Let's F12, apparent F8, wheel chock remove.
Убрать колодки. Прием. Командир, колодки убраны.
Okay, so now we are ready to taxi, request taxi, Anapa, request taxi to runway.
Анапа, 101. Руление.
So I don't know we're gonna be given what runway, but in front of us there is a runway. We have to go to the right.
101. Анапа. Разрешаю руление на полосу 22.
Oh, the 22, meaning that's the opposite directions, but anyway, it's okay. So we're gonna to the left, and then let's take off from runway 22. Okay, so I think that's it, and ready to taxi. Before that, we're gonna turn on the light first. Let's lights on, taxi lights. Okay, and I think we can see here taxi light is on. Then we are ready to taxi. Check the RU. This one is light green, so meaning it's ready on the RU for the landing and takeoff positions. So let's push the power into around 7,000 to brake to 8,000, I guess, so it can move. So remember, it use differential braking, so you have to put your rudder into the left and then just squeeze the lever, the brake lever, to turn. Okay. That is let's go to the yellow lines here. This is much easier than the Mig-15. I guess it has a bit different mechanism with the Belsimtech one. I'm not sure, but yeah. The braking here, it requires a long press on the lever, much more than the Belsimtech one or the Mig-15 or this version. Okay, so let's put the flap into takeoff position. So that's flap deployed, already indicated. Oh, forgot the nose wheel, I think. That's strange. supposed to be not working though when you press that horizontal positions. Okay, so now we are going to the end of the runway here, so just not to speed up too quickly. Now let me center my position again, and let's slightly upward a bit. You can pick and choose the switch, using the switch to make it a bit adjusting your position properly, I guess. Okay, so we're gonna take off from runway 22, but then we're gonna turn left and back toward the inland, and then circle back, climb up into quite high from the ground, and we're gonna shoot something up there probably, and after that we're gonna kind of empty our, or jettison all of our payload, and yeah, so we can then land back with empty conditions. Okay, this is the end of the runway, so we're gonna slow down a bit, and oops, no one. This is quite a very the Anapa airport supposed to be a civilian and military runway, right? So it's kind of like being used both. It's different than the Belsimtec one. I think I like the Belsimtec one. You can pump the brake to make a small movement. This one you have to kind of like push the brake quite hard to turn quite significantly. Okay, let's see here. So we line up.
Отход по схеме на 300, подавление 756,08.
Okay, we got clearance already to go. I forgot to ask for the clearance though. Okay, so now we are ready to take off. So remember, you can flick this brake, so if you cancel your takeoff, then the brake is fully functional, including the nose gear. And also you flick this lock here on for the landing gear lever, so you can then retract the landing gear. Okay, flaps has been deployed, air brake not deployed. What else? Oh yeah, the pitot heater here, we're gonna flick both of them, so now you can flick the pitot heat. Radar is we haven't set the minimum radar altimeter here, so we're gonna set 300. So that's it. I've got about that. So let me check again from the left. Oxygens, I think okay. That's okay. Everything okay here. Switch all up. Gun activated. Uncage. Yep, so seems to be okay. So now we are ready to take off, so let's take off. Okay, so let's put the full throttle to nominal, or 10,000 RPM first, slowly, I think 1 to 5 seconds. Okay, and then release the brake. And you can control a bit the aircraft using rudder here a bit and put into military power. At least it's a long runway here, so I'm okay. So after 200 knots you can put the stick a bit and then it will positive climb, so you can gear up. Okay, gear up and then put into normal and lock the switch again and flap into retracted. Okay, so seems to be now, so you can fly and climb to your desired altitude right now. So it's quite a winter morning, so we can kind of turn here while we climb. Nice reflection of the sun over there. We're gonna split the video in several sections, by the way, but again this one will be flown as a continuous flight. So I'm gonna fly doing something else, but I'm not going to kind of giving you the whole video because it's quite boring probably for some of you. But anyway, so that is the airport, Anapa airport, that we just take off. We're gonna keep on climbing here above 2,000 feet here, 2,000 meters, so above the clouds, and then we're going to activate what do you call it, radar. So let's do this. So the radar has been activated, but this one of course is due to the interference, as you can see below 2000s. If you look down, it will give you a lot of clutters. Yeah, so we have to fly above 2000s to be able to kind of see a clearer pictures right now. So yeah, so that's the radar, beautiful amber color. Now we are entering the clouds, so you're going to be above the clouds. So now we are at compass degree at around 80 degree. So that is horizons. So we can try to, yeah, this one, the gun is actually are applicable, right? Okay, so we are flying very high right now, above 2,000 meters or around 6,000 feet. So unfortunately we cannot and we won't do any armament test right now, so just doing a turnaround kind of flight here, and we're going to be going around again back to our Anapa airport for landing from the sea, from 04 runway 04. Okay, so we are back to heading 22 again. Very cool looking radar, the old versions. We're gonna burn all the fuel because we're burning all the fuel from the jet, from the external fuel. We're gonna dump them around the sea level later on, so don't worry about it. So we're going to go from here. Very nice opening over there. Let's see if we can be heading for heading 22 again into our compass indicator. So that is the ground. Some opening over there. We can see probably the runway over there. Yeah, so that's the runway already visible. Yeah, so we're going to be heading to later on, but we are kind of like circling all around the airport. Is that the airport or no? I think that's the airport. Okay, so we are now descending below the crowd again, because that is the airport down there. Going to go to the sea first, hitting the sea, and I think we're going to turn the radar on. Let me switch on the radar. Okay, so we don't need the radar anymore. So marker is there's some warning over there or what? Yeah. Oops, sorry. So it's kind of like easy on the hand. Can we see anything right now? Okay. So yeah, so I think we are out of military power right now. I think the runway is down below. Okay, that is the runway. So we kind of like heading in toward the sea. We're going to jettison all the bombs, tanks, whatever. So now you can see we don't have anything except of the missile, of course. And we are okay. I think we're going to be a bit more toward the sea right now, and yeah. So that is the sound of the missiles, if you want to know. And I don't think we're going to turn on the missile right now. I think we can do it manual shootout. Hold on a second. No? Yeah, I have to check on how to use this one though. Anyway, so we are going down back to the airbase or Anapa airbase right now. Let's see, we kind of like turning to the right first. We are sorry, gonna switch into the landing light later on. But anyway, we can turn off first, and we're gonna turn landing lights when we are ready to land. Let me check the checklist for landing. Where is it? Okay, this one. Approach. We're gonna turn all the switch off from come on, and then we're going to do anti-skid on. Yep, that's it. So we're gonna turn all this off. Oops, sorry, not the generators. And this one's off also, and this one also off. Okay, so that's it. So we're gonna turn now into the land. We'll see, where is it? So we're going to try to do a straight in landing. Where's the airport? Oh, okay, it's over there. Let me check again. Yeah, so that's the airport. So we're going to quite far away, I think around 10 miles right now, and so request ATC Анапа inbound.
Анапа, 101, возврат.
101. Анапа. Следуйте курсом 052. Удаление 5-0. Давление 756,08. Посадочный 2-2. Занимайте высоту круга.
Okay, so let's lower the landing gear first. Okay, landing gear lowered, then the lights of Aru has been on for landing, and we're going to put the flaps into takeoff and landing. Okay, so flaps has been lowered. Let's maintain speed into around 300 something here while we trying to kind of descend slowly into the runway, because it's kind of need a lot of airspeed. I think I forgot to switch this off first. So, oops. Anything forgot? Come on. So we kind of descend slowly into the runway. So I think you have to be careful not to descend vertical speed, descending too quickly, and then you end up kind of like too early. This is good that you are able to approach from distance. If not, once you're mastering the landing, I guess you can do a quicker approach.
101. Работайте с посадкой.
Анапа, 101, разрешите посадку.
Okay, we try to line up with the runway. It's quite difficult to land versus the Mig-15 Bis actually. I've tried this several times, but yeah. So we can use the drag parachute later on to slow down quickly if required. And put the air brake out first and then parachute out after that, up below 200 knots. Okay, so we kind of try to line up here. You have to judge your vertical speeds up during approach, and I think so this is the because I think it's you cannot see it, very difficult, and then open up the chute and it will slow down quickly and then brake. Yep, you missed the exit just now, but that's quite okay. You can take the last exit basically. Okay guys, that's it. And then this one, the chute, has to be cut off. I think that's gone with the chute, and air brake can be retracted. I think flaps to be if you want to brake, you have to put the flap into retracted positions, and so you'll be able to kind of brake effectively. Put the I know I have to get out from here and to the taxi. That's not a bad landing, but not the nicest thing, so it's kind of like yeah, oops, sorry. Air brake out, parachute I mean. Yeah, we kind of need to turn to the left right now up to this. Let's put into the right position first, so because we're gonna do 90-degree turn. Okay, so that's 90-degree turn, so we're gonna turn again to the left in front of us, trying to get some parking area somewhere over there. Let's see if we can find one. Yeah, just trying to get some closest area, so because we want to do shutdown procedures as usual, so we don't want to do a long video with the long taxi time. So it's a nice early morning, and we just land quite hard just now, but I'm okay with it, so we can try again later on. I want to practice. This is my third times actually landing tryout, to be honest, and I don't think I've mastered yet, so I'm okay with that. So I think we can do parking here around somewhere. Yeah, I think here is okay. Yeah, that's the one of the yeah, can try to turn here and trying to line up with this. Actually, yeah, come on. That's good enough. Okay, I think it's supposed to be okay. Let's put the brake first, and let's put the chock. Let's call F8 chock place.
Установить колодки. Принял. Командир, колодки установлены.
Okay, let's check. Chock are in. Okay, good. And we are ready for shutdown. So I think initially we can turn off a lot of things that is not necessary. The pitot, this things, controller off, everything off here. This one off. Generators, I'm okay with it. The radio off. This one off. And then of course the engine startup, and this thing can be turned off because we don't need anymore. And this kit, yeah, it can be turned off also. This one is also off on the instrument. And the lights is off, of course, and the lights already off. I forgot to switch it on. What else? That's it. So we can put this lever into shutdown. So push the right one first, off, and the RPM will be off, and we can do open here and here open, and let's pull the cockpit into off position or out positions, open, and then the left throttle to off. Okay, so it's turning down. Generator off. This one off. Sorry, this we got to turn it off. Fuel pump off. It's okay. So not yet off. Okay, what else? Oxygens. We can put it back. And this one, if you want to reset. And of course this one to oxygen shut off, valve to off. I think that's it. And then the battery one off. Okay, this one is not off. That's quite funny. I think there's some bugs, I guess, not yet fixed. Okay guys, that's it. So we are completing our cold and dark startup procedures, taxi, take off, and turn around and landing back into Anapa Airport and do a shutdown procedures. I'm not looking at my checklist though. Hopefully that's probably quite okay, and hope that give you a bit more information about the MiG-19. It's quite difficult to land because it land with a higher speed than the Mig-15, for example, around 300 something, right? Yeah, around 300. So you land around 280 kilometer per hour. That's quite a high speed. So yeah, think you are inevitably can kind of having a more rough landing, I guess, if you're not practicing a smooth landing. Okay, that's it, and see you next time.